Welcome to Inspiring Journeys. I'm Paul Stressner, and this is the podcast that shines a light on real stories of resilience, personal growth, and triumph. Each episode, we dive into the moments that challenge us and breakthroughs that define us. So, if you're ready for a dose of motivation, insight, and inspiration to fuel your journey, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hey, everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Inspiring Journeys. This is Paul here, and along with me is Kerri. And as usual, we'll start with Kerri. You'll start this week. What are you grateful for this week?
Hey everyone. This week I am grateful for long car rides with my family and my brother specifically. So we went to a concert on Friday and it was so cool to get to spend that time with him and share that experience with him. We brought our daughters down to the show, and like my brother used to take me to concerts when I was like 12, 13 years old. So it's really cool to see, us doing this with our daughters that are the same age as what we were when we were younger. And but we had like the greatest conversations on the way down, and then on the way back at like midnight to 1 a.m. just like talking about life and like things from growing up and just like how we've grown and adapted over the years. And so maybe like not necessarily long car rides, but like those car rides that happen at like midnight to like 3 a.m. I don't know if you guys have ever had those with like really close friends, but like you have the coolest and the most deepest conversations in those moments. And
Right.
so I'm really grateful for those special moments where like they're core memories that you're going to remember those forever and ever and ever. But so it was really cool. It was like the whole day was awesome, but that was like the icing on the cake, was just being able to have that time with him and to talk and bond a little bit, because life gets crazy. And
Mhm.
we both have our own families and our jobs and stuff, so it was good to kind of get back together and spend some time, quality time together. So I'm grateful for that.
Oh, I love that. Yep. Yeah, sure. Um, yeah, I love those deep conversations. Yeah, like you said, it's like you're always busy, so then you have like that time where you have nowhere else to be. So
Hmm.
yeah, so that's great. Let's see, for me, we'll see, this week I'll say I'm grateful that I'm resilient because through my whole life, no matter what I've been through, like I've had all these injuries and I just keep going. I never stop. And I just had like a stomach bug this past weekend, and I'm just getting more and more patient. Normally, I can't keep still, and I force myself to try to feel better and force myself to do things. But this time, I just let my body do what it needed to do, relax, and listen to myself. And now I'm already doing better. It's just been a day, so yeah, feeling much better. So I'm just happy that I'm healthy and resilient.
Hmm. That's a good
Yeah.
one. That's a good one.
Yeah, thank you. All right, then that brings us to today's guest is Kate DeCosta, and she's on an inspiring journey of her own. Kate was having some major health issues that doctors couldn't figure out, but that wasn't going to stop her. Kate's passion for health led her on a path over a decade of researching and studying different symptoms, ailments, and treatments, which led her to go to school at the for Integrative Nutrition. Kate is now a certified health coach. If you're struggling with your physical and mental health and know that you need to make changes but don't know where to begin, Kate is here to help facilitate your healing using a holistic approach that integrates your mind, body, and soul. Welcome to the show, Kate DeCosta.
Thank
Yay.
you so much, Paul, for that lovely introduction. It's awesome to be here with you and Kerri. I've been super excited about this, episode for a little while now, so it's nice that it's finally here. What I am excited or, most grateful for today would be divine timing. You know how everything just kind of works out. I tend to get a little worried sometimes and be like, ah, I can't control, like, and
Mhm.
I've found that when I kind of just let go and let things happen as they may, that they actually work out usually better than I could have planned them myself. So just kind of leaning back and leaning into the faith that I have, that everything works out for my highest good. It's kind of, yeah, been really cool to have that happen.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
very
I
grateful for
love that.
that.
Good one. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and yeah, and I love your journey right now, and yeah, we're friends, and it's so fun seeing you going through this right now, watching you grow and having your own business and everything. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's been a really cool process. For me, when I was growing up, we'd always kind of laugh at like my digestive issues and be like, oh, there she is, she's got like gas or whatever, and just be like, hee hee hee, but not realizing like, oh, maybe she's like having problems digesting the food that she's eating. No, no, none of that, none of that. Must continue eating all the pasta. As an Italian, yes, that was the case. Until it kind of smacked me in the face, and I didn't really have any other choice but to figure it out because it got to the point I was kind of scared to eat. I was like, all right, well, what's going to bother me now? And I never knew when I was going to have digestive issues, and kind of always being like, all right, where's the closest bathroom in case after, I eat this meal, I have trouble, or,
Mhm.
I at one point I thought like going out after, work for some drinks and stuff. It was great, but then the next morning I'm like doubled over in pain on the toilet. It's just not wasn't worth it for me. And so I ended up doing a food diary to kind of figure out what was going on, and did the elimination diet where you take out like pretty much almost all foods except for very benign ones like rice and stuff. And I slowly started adding things in, and recognizing and realizing, oh, this food affects me in this way, and this food affects me in this way, and this is how I feel with this food, and this is how I feel with this one. So it was a great way to learn how my body speaks to me.
Mhm.
I think people nowadays are really disconnected from that. And, I know I was for a very long time. It wasn't until my late 20s that I started having all these issues. And maybe I think it was maybe by the time I was 30 that I was like, oh, maybe I should start looking into why I'm having, doing more than going just to the doctor and being like, oh, well, they can't figure it out, and taking control of things myself and being like, all right, well, if they can't, then I will.
Mhm.
Um, and kind of going down that path, and then realizing, oh, well, I'm not the only one that has these issues. I'm not the only one that's, having digestive issues from gluten that's not celiac, and, other grains, especially corn, affect me in my mentality. And, there's something called corn rage, which I actually get, and I have so much inflammation from it that it causes a lot of neuro issues.
Mm.
And I was misdiagnosed as bipolar 2 for over a decade, heavily medicated. And it just turned out to be the food sensitivities. I got rid of the
Wow.
things that were offending me, calmed down the inflammation in my body, and, was able to go off medication. And through that time, I was seeing lots of therapists and doctors and stuff like that. So, doing all of this was well regulated. I wasn't just trying it all willy-nilly on my own, but
Mhm.
um, it was really powerful for me to be able to be kind of taking back control of my own health. And I see so many people struggle with issues nowadays with anxiety and depression, and, low stamina, not wanting to do anything. Their energy levels are low. And I just want to kind of put the word out there so that they know that their diet really does affect all of these things. And if they want to change some things, and it's not easy for sure, but if they want to start feeling better and live the life that they know that they are meant for, there's hope for them. They don't have to be dealing with all of the symptoms that they are necessarily.
That's so interesting. I didn't realize like Like I had never heard of that corn rage before. It seems like
It's a
this.
thing. Google it. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. So
Yeah,
like
and corn's in everything. So you think about
Mhm.
all the
right.
kids nowadays that are diagnosed with like ADD and ADHD and oppositional defiance and all of these different, things that are in the psychology books and stuff. And it's like, how much of it really is that and how much of it is food? Will we ever
Hmm.
know, until we as a whole, as a collective, sit down and really take a look at the food that we're eating and take responsibility for the things that we're consuming.
Yeah, and the different types of food, they can have different type of reactions and effects on you. Huh? That must be
Yeah.
like so frustrating.
Mhm.
You have
Yeah.
these issues that it could be food, might not be. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I for a long time I didn't know that it was food. I had no idea. I just was like, oh, well, I have a, chemical imbalance and, was on mood stabilizers and anti-anxiety and all of these things. And then started eating healthier, but still consuming wheat and, things that were irritating me. And so even though I was eating organic or like non-GMO and healthier foods, I was still experiencing all of the same symptoms. So it wasn't until I was like, let's figure this out and started eliminating things that, my body really started to kind of let me know, yes, this is what feels good and this is what feels not good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've noticed as I've gotten older that like no like basic irritations that I used to have with wheat or like sugars and things like that have really started to bubble to the surface more and more.
Mhm.
Like my joints and stuff will get so inflamed whenever I have sugars or like any kind of like bread or pasta or anything like that. My whole body like gets inflamed now. Like whenever I put any kind of pasta or wheat into my system. And it's gotten to the point where it's just not worth it. It's just not worth like feeling like bloated and like just achy and, you know, like all of my fingers will feel like they're huge and massive. Like, and I won't be able to bend them because of just how tight my joints feel. And it's been something that it's been an elimination process of figuring out like what it is that is causing it and what I can eat and what I can't eat. So like I can't imagine when it's like really affecting your mood and just to the point where they diagnosed you with bipolar and all these things like that's like a whole other like I didn't realize that it went that far. That's crazy.
Yeah, because you start getting just like your whole body gets systemic inflammation
Mhm.
and it just, it affects your neurology. You have neurotransmitters in your gut that obviously like when your gut's inflamed from eating foods that are, inflaming it, then it's just going to go straight to the mind and it's the connection between the gut and the mind is just it's something that I totally geek out on
Mhm.
because it was my lived experience for so long. So I'm just like, and it's funny, Kerri, that you mentioned about the inflammation, how you have trouble like, with your hands and stuff, because in my late 20s, like when I didn't, before I'd realized all of these and I was having the symptoms that I was having, one of the things I thought I was getting like psoriatic arthritis or something
Yeah.
because I had no power behind my fist. And sometimes I couldn't even like really
Yeah.
close my hand. And I was taking glucosamine and chondroitin. I was like, what is going on? I'm not even 30 yet. And I'm like falling apart here. It
Mhm.
was crazy. Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, like it's that exact feeling. I'm just like I don't understand like what is happening. Like I'm too like this is like I shouldn't be feeling like this already. And yeah, it was that process of elimination and I took things out and magically like things got better. And if I ate something and it's instant too, it's not even like the moment it's in my system and it's like starting to process through it, like my body completely shifts into getting inflamed and like it's gotten to the point where like everything feels like it's just so inflamed and it's been a really hard learning process for sure. And it's something that you have to be really strict with, because I love bread, like bread and pasta are like,
Yup.
right? Especially as a runner, like that's like my core food group is bread and pasta. And so now I've like had to like reteach my body like what I can consume and what works for me, like to eat when I'm running. And it's a whole process. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing the obstacle course racing, if you can't grip, if your hands are
Right.
bothering you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like that's exactly it, like, and I think, New York was one of like a really great example of kind of like where I think things really derailed for me and set me off in a really bad place for my race day, because we had pizza and we had bagels and we had all kinds of things before that race. And like, I think I woke up that morning for race day just feeling like terrible, like I was sluggish, like I felt inflamed, like everything, like I really do feel like that what I ingested was not the appropriate food to be eating anymore for race day. So it's a learning experience.
For sure. Yeah. But it's funny. 'Cause I always thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to find like food. Like, am I going to enjoy anything? There's gluten and everything, like,
Right.
and just trying to figure out. And it's actually, there are so many delicious recipes that you don't need to have gluten. It kind of forced me to be a better cook, because it forced me to kind of think outside the box and try new recipes and try different ways of cooking things, and just my eating habits overall. So it definitely, as crappy as that part is, it was really nice to kind of expand
Mm-hmm.
my cooking capabilities, because I was like, okay, mac and cheese and hot dog,
Right.
typical 20-year-old fare,
I love mac and cheese, man. Oh my
Yeah.
God. It's the best. It is not good afterwards, but like that was like one of my favorite meals, hands down.
They have like grain-free pasta now that
Mhm.
I actually sometimes that I if I'm gonna have pasta and stuff, that's what I typically go for. And
Yeah.
it's actually not that bad. I'm like, okay, and you get used to it. You're like, all right, it's better than no pasta.
Right. It looks like pasta, and like I have found that like, like the veggie things that they have now, like that look like pasta and things like that are in the groceries, or like I love spaghetti squash. Like spaghetti
Oh
squash is
yeah.
something that I really, really love. And if it's cooked the right way and it's like that al dente like strings, like I don't even really notice a difference between that and pasta. Like I love it. I think it's like one of the best things. So I've been like shifting to spaghetti squash more and more often for when we have like pasta nights and stuff, because it's good.
I've got an awesome spaghetti squash lasagna recipe that I found
Ooh,
that I'll have to
Oh, wow.
like send
yes.
along your way, because it's
Yes.
so good, so good. And yes, it's delicious. Hmm.
Definitely send that to me, because lasagna is my jam. My mom used to
Yep.
make me lasagna every year on my birthday. It was lasagna and cherry cheesecake. And now I'm just like, I miss my lasagna.
Do you still have cravings, Kate? Or once you've like gone without it for a while, are you like all good or?
I have cravings for like I don't know, I guess not really for bread. I guess I never really was like it was just bread was kind of like but and mashed potatoes same way.
Mhm.
It's just I'm like and French fries. I'm like that just fills me up, and I want to eat like the main food.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes I'll yeah, I definitely want like a cookie, but that's more like an emotional kind of thing, or
Mhm.
if it's that time of the month for me, I'm
Right.
like, oh, I want a brownie. I want some chocolate,
Yeah.
like so. But then I'll grab myself some like strawberries and chocolate hummus,
Mhm.
so I'll still get my little fix, but it's just in a healthier way.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yes, I quit drinking soda. Wow, it's been probably like at least like 15 years now. I just quit cold turkey, and I
Yeah.
have like no desire for it at all anymore.
Awesome.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would struggle with bread or not. I do love bread,
I
but I
do
don't
love bread. I do love bread.
I mean,
know.
I
Feel you.
smell it, and you go into a
Mm.
bakery and you're just like, oh,
Mm.
it smells so good. But I had some Chinese food a few weeks ago, and it had like a tiny little bit of gluten, and I was like, well, I haven't had it in so long, maybe I won't react. And then it was like 2 days later, and I thought I was in the clear because I'm like, but sometimes for some people it takes a couple of
Mm.
days for I started getting the worst migraine, and it just like kept building and building. I was down for the count for the rest of the night, like wasted a whole afternoon, couldn't even function. I was like, that was not worth it. I started getting vertigo and stuff. It
Oh
was
wow.
just so for me, because I have such a visceral reaction to it, it's kind of like when you're trying to lose a habit and they tell you to use like a rubber band on your wrist or something. I don't know if I used to
Yep.
smoke cigarettes way
Yeah, it
back in the
works.
day, and in order to quit, they were like, every time you want one, you put a rubber band on your wrist and you snap yourself
Hmm.
to like kind of deter yourself from wanting that. And because of my reaction, it doesn't really entice me anymore, only because I know how bad I feel after having
Hmm.
it. It's like, that sounds great, but I can't handle it. Like the aftermath is not worth it to me.
Yeah, it's the same with like with energy drinks and all those things I've noticed. Like I can't have any of any energy drink with like even like the Celsiuses that have come out and those things like those wreak havoc like I get stomach pains from like putting energy drinks in my system. Like that is the absolute worst. Like I
Do you think it's the
cannot
carbonation
I
or
don't
like
know because
the
like I can do
vitamins in
like
it or
I
something?
can do the seltzers like a
Okay.
regular seltzer is fine.
Mhm.
So there's something like the Celsiuses are the worst out of all of them for me. And so I don't know if it's something like that's in it that like reacts poorly with my system, but I will literally feel like there is a knife like ripping my insides whenever I ingest it. Like, and so I had bought a case through Amazon for the month just to have it in the house to save money. And I ended up giving them to my husband because I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was another one of those like moments of like what's going and I don't drink a ton of them. Like I like have one like that's it. Like I don't like hammer them back all day long. And so I started getting those stomach pains and I was just like, something is just like this is weird. And like it was getting to the point where it was like I was concerned and because my mom passed away of ovarian cancer. And so like you immediately start like going down this rabbit hole of like, oh my God, I'm getting these like pains and it's not going away. And like, what is this? And so it was like process of elimination again. And I took those out and it was within 24 to like 36 hours once it was out of my system. The pain was completely gone and I haven't had one since and the pain has not returned. So I was like, I told my husband, I was like, you can have the rest of these. I'm off, I'm off of those too. But
Man,
yeah. And so I guess there has been reports in the past, like, or recently that some people really do have an adverse a reaction, especially specifically to the Celsius drinks. So there's something in them that must like for some people just
flare
react.
something up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
duly noted. I'm not going to try those
I
then.
know. Don't.
Not that I drink energy drinks anyways, but I'm
Yeah.
like, we'll see far clear of those.
And then back to good old coffee and tea and green tea and stuff like that. And then I'm happy with that. We'll stick over there.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too that I picked up. You also said like there's like even organic stuff. Some of it could affect you too. So that's funny. But you expect like hear something's organic, you think automatically think that it's good for
Well,
you, but you can
yeah. I
still.
mean, I thought I'm eating whole wheat bread. How is this not
Right.
good? Like, I was bringing my own food to work. I'm like, I'm doing all the things that I'm supposed to be doing. What is going on? Why am I not like, having any relief from this, and and in fact, like, was getting worse, probably because I was having whole wheat bread. Like, trying to be all healthy and stuff. Grains don't work with me at all. So yeah, it's funny, but what works for one person just does not work for another, and everybody's so individual that you just kind of gotta feel and know your body. That's why I recommend people do a diary, just so that they can start chronicling, like, okay, this is what I eat, this is how I feel when I eat these foods, just to get to know how their body is and what it says to them and stuff. Because like I said before, most people aren't aware of it at all and are just thinking that their symptoms are normal, or, oh, that, like for us, Kerri, with the arthritis and stuff, it's like, oh, well, I'm just getting old or something. And they just, chalk it up to something else, and have no idea that it's related to the foods that they're eating.
100%. It is. My friend is doing one of the take everything out of their diet and completely start fresh, because she's had the same issues over the last like 5 to 6 months, where she's having all these, like, her heart racing, or like weird pains, or like even to the point of just like, and I guess it does kind of like with her with mood swings and stuff like that too, and just kind of like that, like, she's fine one minute and then the next minute she's swinging the opposite direction, and so, and the doctors are like, you're fine, you're healthy, like there's nothing in your blood work that says that you're sick, like you're fine, I don't know what the problem is. And so she's gotten to the point where she's just like, I'm just going to take everything out and see what it is that's causing it, because she's like, I can't live like this, I can't keep on going like this. And the doctors are just like, you're fine. And she's like, I'm not fine, like there's something is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, doctors are, they're very knowledgeable. They are awesome at what they do, which is like, taking care of you when you have an acute sickness and stuff. But when you have something that doesn't show up on test results and stuff, it's kind of like, well, I got nothing for you. So that's where, health coaching comes in, because it's like, okay, we kind of bridge the gap, especially when you don't know where to, start off. It's very overwhelming for a lot of people, because they don't necessarily want to know all the things that I learned and stuff. They don't necessarily want or care to. And so, working with a health coach, that really helps to kind of guide them. Okay, this is how this is how you can figure out certain things, and these supplements are needed to help, or these vitamins are great for, if you have problems with anxiety, you want to make sure that you're having enough B vitamins, and if you have trouble sleeping, try with magnesium, just different things like that most people, they don't know that, and their doctor is too busy taking care of, like, acutely sick people, to kind of help them with the everyday stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like, that's it, like, for me, like I really need a health coach, like to guide me in the direction of vitamins and stuff that I should be taking, because that is like an area for me that is completely foreign. Like I'll go and I'll be like, oh, I heard like this, like, vitamin B is good for you, or like, are you, or like, collagen, like if you put collagen in for your skin's elasticity and things like that. But like when it comes to actually like a set of what I should be taking for vitamins, I am so completely clueless. And like I've tried to research it and I get overwhelmed, and I'm just like, well, I'll do it another day. Or like I never have invested the time into it to be like, this is what I should be doing, especially as a runner, like, and like a marathoner too. I feel like, as you get into the longer distance miles, and your body needs to be replenished with vitamins and stuff. And I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff that I am not putting back into my system that I'm losing when I'm out running for hours and hours and hours. And that's a value for people to have somebody that can sit down and be like, okay, this is what you're doing in life, and like this is what you should be doing, or this is what you should be taking. Because I feel like a lot of people are probably on the same wavelength that I am, where it's just like I have no clue where to start with this.
Yeah, I recommend people get some lab work done just to have like a base point of like, okay, this is where we're at with certain things. Are you low in iron? You know, do you need to add more magnesium or vitamin D into your diet? How's your, mineral content looking and stuff like that? So I think having that base point and then going from there so that you're not just kind of being like, oh, well, I heard zinc was really good and it's
Right.
good for digestion and your stomach acid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let me go get some, but you may not need that, so
Right.
you don't, and in fact, that can actually cause more issues. So it's important to like have a kind of base point of like, okay, I've had some testing done. This is what I know I need to, work on or kind of implement more of in my diet. Or I tend to like to add more food stuff just because our body's assimilated a lot better than taking synthetic vitamins. But especially after going for a long run and stuff, I'm sure taking an Epsom salt bath would be phenomenal for you.
Mm-hmm.
Replenish all the minerals you lost while sweating and stuff, and also help ease the sore and tight muscles.
Yeah.
So, it's like I said, no, but not a lot of people, unless they're into health themselves, really want to like learn all the intricacies of things like that. But that's the stuff that I geek out on. So it's like, Paul's laughing because this isn't the first time he's heard me talk about stuff like this.
I think it's great. I think it's great to have people like you that do want to geek out on it. And because like there's people like me that's just like that, like, oh, like zinc's like you're supposed to like zinc is good for you. So like I'm just gonna go ahead and take that because that's what like they're saying. And like it's so silly to even do that because like you don't know how it's gonna react. Like you said, you don't know how it's gonna react to your system and like it could completely throw you out of whack. And,
Because your
and
levels could already be normal, and
right.
then you're just
You're
adding
just
to
like, I'm
that,
just
and
pounding
yeah.
more zinc into my body. It's totally fine. So yeah, I think there's a massive value for a coach like you that can kind of be like, all right, let's look at like your numbers, let's look at your labs and see where you're at, and kind of like from there, like figure out a plan of attack for everything. And I love that you like recommend food over taking like synthetic over the counter stuff because
More
I do.
natural.
Yeah, it's more natural. Your body is going to be able to ingest it better. And so it's cool. I think I value that you like to geek out on that stuff because I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna
Thanks.
I
Yeah.
also love the idea of the food diary. I like how you call it a food diary as opposed to a food log. Like food log, see like about. I feel like it's more like if you're checking your weight, you know what you're eating, keep track of what you're eating. But it's important, I think, to see how you're feeling. It's good to write how you're feeling after you eat whatever you ate. That's like a better way to track. I think I like that
Yeah.
idea.
That, and like I said before, for me, I didn't get the migraine until like 2 days after. So if I didn't,
Uh,
if I'm already obviously aware of what my issues are, but if I hadn't, and I couldn't remember, well, what did I eat? What did I eat? Like, and then you can go back, oh, well, this is the pattern. I get a migraine or I get vertigo after every time that I have eaten, like, by a day or two after every time that I ate gluten or something, it's just an easier way to kind of keep track of things. And yeah, I say diary because I don't want people to, you don't want to become too consumed with it. That's a whole nother kind of like
hmm.
food disorder almost, when you
Right.
get too into it, you don't want to be too, it's 80/20. You got to live your life too. So I like the diary because it's just, it encompasses more, and it also holds you accountable because then you're like actually seeing, oh, well, I don't eat that many snacks or I don't have that much. And then it's like staring you back in the face and you're like, actually, yep, sorry, that's me. I did all of those
I
things. I ate all of that food. Yep.
I
Hmm.
had 7 cookies throughout the course of the day. They add up.
Yes, they do.
Oh, sorry, my brain just shut down.
Oh, see, and it's because I said something earlier before we started, and then I wanted to look at it because mine goes blank sometimes.
I guess I'm still not fully recovered from my bug, but
Mm,
okay.
That's okay. We won't judge you. No, I'm kidding.
no judgment.
Oh, crap, because there was something I wanted to ask, but no, it left my brain. That happens sometimes.
Dude, you should have seen me on Friday because I saw the guys from Seven Dust on Friday. We did a meet and greet with them, and I love the guitarist Clint. Like we're decent friends now because we talk on his Discord all the time, and I'm really thankful for that because like before I would literally like walk up to these guys and just like blank stare at them. 'Cause everything in my head would just like fade away. But like we were having a conversation, even, we talk all the time, and I still like will be mid conversation, and whatever it was that I was gonna say just completely poofs out of my head. And then I say something ridiculous, and then that's all that I can focus on for the rest of the conversation is why did you just say what you just said? And I'm just like, I'm going to leave now because I have embarrassed myself enough. And we're just going to exit the room and pretend like this never happened.
I'm so glad that you guys are talking about this because I tend to be like the super awkward person.
Yeah.
Doing the same exact thing. Being like, wow, and I just stuck my foot in my mouth and I'm continuing to talk and I can't stop. Just
right.
Make me stop, please.
Right. In your head, you're like, stop talking. Stop talking. Why are you still talking?
Oh, we keep it real here.
There
But
was like this great like meme or something that I saw this morning that I actually shared in his Discord because of how awkward I always am. And it was like, if I walk up to you the first time and I'm awkward when I talk, just know that inside of my head, I am internally screaming about why I'm so awkward inside, and that this is not my first conversation that I've ever had. I swear to God. It's terrible.
but yeah, I do want to say, like, yeah, that's so inspiring how you couldn't figure out well, the doctors couldn't figure out what the problems were, and you just like took it on yourself. Because I'm actually kind of going through the same thing myself right now. I've had these nasty headaches since I was a child, especially when it's gonna rain or snow. I get these really awful headaches. I even have my third grade school picture. I had like these black rings under my eyes because I had one of those headaches that day, and nobody can figure out. No doctor's been able to figure out what's going on with that. And I'm allergic to aspirin. I can't take the only thing I could take is Tylenol, and that doesn't do anything at this point.
Oh
So
boy.
it's so frustrating that I can't do anything about it, and I just like been suffering. And I just went to ENT, and they barely did anything. He put his finger under my nose to see all that, make sure I didn't have a deviated septum, and that was all he said. So
Wow.
that's normal. So nobody knows what's going on. So so
Well, may
yeah.
I suggest a food diary?
Mhm.
That's what I'm exactly considering now. Yeah.
Are
It's
you
just,
Wow.
seeing a theme here?
yeah. It's just odd that it happens when it's going to be raining out. So I think it has something to do with the barometer or something, but maybe like a
Yeah, the
combination.
pressure, the
Yeah,
pressure.
pressure.
Actually, to piggyback a little bit off of you having that issue, I went to a biological dentist for the first time this past year because I went to a regular one and wasn't happy with the way that my teeth like went with them. So my like dental work. And so I went with them because I was like, well, if I'm going to be paying out of pocket, then I want it done like,
Right.
and have it be least toxic and all of this stuff. So I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, let's go there. And they did this thing called cone imaging. And they actually found two cysts. The one on my left side is a lot bigger than the one on my right side, but in my nasal cavity. And he asked me, do you have any food sensitivities? And I was like, how do you
Whoa. What kind of hocus pocus is that?
right? I was like, what? So it turns out that the food sensitivities, because it's been so prolonged and stuff. And so that's why I get such bad sinus
Wow.
is because I have so much pressure. So maybe that's what's going on with you, Paul.
Oh wow. Huh.
Food diarrhea, I'm telling you. Try it.
Yep. It's time. It's time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because I'm just, and it's as I'm getting older, it's getting worse. It's like getting more painful, and it really puts me out. So yeah,
Hmm.
I just dealt with it before, but now it's more of a struggle, and I'm tired of it. So yeah.
You literally you do. You have to get to a point where eating the way that you've always eaten or do the things that you've always done gets to be too much for you to want to continue. And you're just
Mhm.
like, enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. I need to take reins and to like, take the reins and take back my health and take back charge of my life and stuff because it's just you're like, I can't, this is you kind of freak out and you're like, I can't do this anymore. Because I mean, like, what other recourse do you have? I feel like it's the definition of insanity, just trying to do the same things over and
Hmm.
over and getting the same result. It's like, that's
Right.
not working. We got to do something else. Ah.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm learning all kinds of things from you today. I never heard of like a biological dentist either.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's one in Providence that I go to.
oh, okay.
The Biomed Center. They're really
Oh,
good. Hmm.
oh, okay. Yeah, because I just got a new dentist now because I don't want to get too much into it, but the other dentist I've been going to is that office got awful and toxic and nasty.
Mm.
So I just switched. And I was actually gonna we in the same town, so I was just gonna ask you about like a certain like dentist office, what you thought. But yeah, I'm trying it out and they seem much better. But yeah, it's so funny that you brought up the dentist just
Well,
when I'm
now you
getting a new
know.
one.
Now you
Yeah.
know. You can tell them I sent you.
Uh, yeah, and you're kind of new now at your own business, right? You just started that in the past year.
Yeah, the Integrate with Kate, my health coaching business. Yeah, I was an esthetician for over 20 years and I love it still. It'll always be kind of something that's near and dear to my heart, but with all of the struggles that I see that people have that are so similar to my own that I really feel called to kind of focus on that more than the aesthetic aspect. And it just, I really feel there's such a big need for people to kind of, like you all were saying, to just kind of take control of their life and be like, all right, well, this isn't working. And what do I need to do to change it and stuff? There's a lot of disconnect between what doctors are, telling you to do and what people are actually feeling comfortable doing. They're like, okay, well, he told me to lose like, 40 pounds, but I don't know how to do that. I've tried doing that. I've tried Weight Watchers or I've tried that, they've tried all of these things and it hasn't panned out for them. Or maybe they haven't. Maybe they go into freeze mode when they, because they get overwhelmed. I know I sometimes do when I get overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna stay here. It's
Yep.
like, um, so just having that bridge is, I think, really important. And there's a huge need for it, especially with the way that our food is these days. A lot of our food isn't actually food, it's food-like products. And, we're seeing the kind of recourse from eating that way for so long. Back in the day, we wouldn't call our grandparents wouldn't call their food organic. It was just food. But now we
Right.
have to specifically look for organic food and we have to specifically look for, we were told in the 90s, oh yeah, low fat, no fat, that's the best way to go, and this, that, and the other thing. And it turns out, yeah, well, guess what? Your brain needs fat really bad. And if it doesn't, then there's major issues. And we're dealing with a lot of that, I think now as well. For me personally, I, love healthy fats. I do consume butter. I do have, a lot of olive oil and coconut oil, and I like avocados and, so I'm not shy about those things. I think that they're really important. Do I have them in moderation? Absolutely. But I'm not scared to eat them the way that I know. I remember how my parents were when I was growing up. Everything was like low fat, no fat. And it's in my mind, when I see that stuff now, it's like chemical shitstorm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
Hmm. It
Like
really is.
you can't pronounce the ingredients on the back. I'm like, I don't even know what this is.
Yep.
And then you're realizing like, oh, there's flame retardants in Gatorade and like what the what was it, the Subway bread had the same ingredient in it as like yoga
Yoga
mats.
mats, yep.
And it's just like, what exactly am I eating here?
Right.
You know? So just having that conversation with yourself, and if you don't know where to go from there, then, hiring a health coach who can help you to kind of live the life. I think having good health is a big foundation for living the life that you're meant to live.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph Waldo Emerson said, if the greatest wealth is health. And that's just something that's kind of stuck with me, because it's true. When you aren't healthy and you don't feel good, it's really hard to pick yourself up and live a happy life, and be satisfied with the things that you're doing. A lot of the times you have, inflammation or joint problems or a lot of pain and stuff, and that's not really living. That's more just surviving. And I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive, and I want to help other people do the same. So that's kind of where my head's at when it comes to all of that.
Yeah, just this morning I was talking to somebody how like there's a lot of food here, ingredients in the food that are banned in other countries, yet it's like so
Yeah.
normalized here, and that makes it so difficult to eat healthy, especially
Yeah.
in this country. Yeah.
The Kraft macaroni and cheese that we get here is completely different than the Kraft macaroni and cheese that Europe gets, because and it's the same box, it's the same everything. So why is it that the FDA and stuff, why are they allowed to, why I don't understand why we're basically being systematically poisoned by these
Mm.
companies, and our government, the FDA and stuff, why aren't they they're there to supposedly protect us? So I don't understand why, the European Union's able to do these things. How come we haven't been able to do these things? And why are we not getting quality food as well as the EU is? It just it blows my mind.
Yeah, and like with the rate of cancer and stuff, that's just, I feel like everybody around me is like knows somebody or has been impacted personally by it. And there has to be some kind of correlation between what we're consuming and cancer diagnosis. There has to be something that's there, because all of this unnatural like stuff that we're putting into our systems continuously day after day, and for a lot of people, they're not looking at the back of the labels to see what's in the food that they're eating and what they're ingesting. And especially like for right now with the way that the economy and everything is, and people are trying to pinch pennies, and they might not be able to afford like the organic stuff, or they might have to go for like the cheapest of cheap that they can find for food. And when you look at the stuff that's the cheapest of cheap that you can find for food, there's not a whole lot of ingredients that I can pronounce on the back of those labels. Like, it's not natural stuff. So I think like there needs to be something that's brought to light about that connection between, the skyrocketing cases of cancer and other diseases that are happening with the food that we're consuming.
Yeah, I along the lines with cancer, and obviously not always as devastating, but the amount of people that have ADD and ADHD, and the food dyes that are allowed in our food that are also banned overseas. The US likes to tote how we're number one, and it's really sad because we're not anymore, and definitely not in health. We're like a third world country with the statistics. Our numbers are. It's really startling, and I don't think people are even aware of that. And so that's why I like to do podcasts, so I can kind of get on my speaker box and be like, listen,
it's true
you know
about
what's
the
happening
dyes.
here.
The dyes is a real thing, because like my daughter cannot, like the moment that red Gatorade goes into our system, like it is like a switch in her. Like she will go from baseline normal kid to like absolutely off the wall, like crazy. And or even like candy, like if she has like a Jolly Rancher or something in it that's got dye in it, I'm like, what did you have that has red dye in it? Like red dye specifically for her is like something just sets her off.
Yeah.
And we can always, she'll be like, oh, well, I didn't have anything. And then she'll be like, oh, wait, no, I had this. And I'd be like, that's why you're the way that you are right now, because like it's something, that connection in her mind that like sets her off.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And they know about that, though. It's not like a thing that they're like, oh, well, we haven't studied this. They know that and they still do it. And they're just, but it's like, again, they send over a different food in the same boxes. So it's not like it can't be done. It can be. They just choose not to. And it's kind of like, okay, why?
Money, money, money.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Well, this is something though that yeah, who would have thought that when you were first having these health problems that you'd go on to be like a health coach specializing in this stuff. That's incredible journey there. Love that.
Well, I mean, like because of my food issues, I started looking into food and like the food industry and stuff. So I went down that rabbit hole in my late 20s, which led to other rabbit holes. But like I went down that one and I was like, Monsanto, huh? Like I was like an Agent Orange. Yeah, I know all about you. You know?
Exactly.
My dad was in Vietnam, so it's like so these things I'm like, okay, these are like near and dear to my heart because they affect not just myself, but people I love and people that I'm close to and stuff. So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened to my dad too. He was exposed to Agent Orange, and then he ended up having all kinds of heart problems, arteriosclerosis, and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, he ended up passing away from a heart attack. So
Yeah.
So and and this is the same stuff that they're putting all vegetables that you think that are healthy.
Yeah, it's the glyphosate. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, can go on a whole rabbit
The
hole
whole
with this.
tangent, yeah, because I'm like, then you find like the forever chemicals and all of this stuff, and it's like, even in utero, babies are being exposed to it. Just it's like so superfluous. It's everywhere. There's no, you kind of you can go like crazy thinking about it. So it's just like, all right, well, just do the best you can. And if you can't, much like what Kerri was saying, like, people that aren't able to afford organic, I totally get it. I mean, I've been on food stamps before more than once. Like it's not fun. I've been dirt poor and you know, trying to eat healthy while trying to be mindful of how much you're spending, it's a huge struggle. So I like to give people tips. Okay, if you are having trouble affording organic, just do the best you can. Afford it when you can. Afford it for, certain things. Frozen fruit is a lot less expensive, as is frozen vegetables when they're organic, if they're frozen as opposed to the fresh stuff. But they taste, just as good, especially do your peas really care? Do your beans really care if they're frozen? A lot of recipes actually call for the frozen version. So it's there are ways, and then there's something called the Dirty Dozen, and that the EWG comes out with every year, and it's the 12 most pesticide ridden fruits and vegetables for that year. And so even if you can just avoid having the Dirty Dozen, that's something too. And if you can't, eat the fact that you're eating fruits and vegetables as opposed to stuff that you can't pronounce out of a package is a win in my book.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's good for people to hear that. Like if they go to you and they're like, oh, look, I can't afford to do like all these things. I can't afford to be, buying all organic food. How am I supposed to eat healthy? That's another value for them to have, for you to be like, that's okay. Like this is what you can do differently. I have a huge bag of like peas and corn and like carrots and stuff that's all frozen that just sits in our freezer for, if we're having whatever meals we're having. And it's so easy to just like throw it into whatever we're cooking for the day and we're getting our vegetable intake. And they're relatively affordable in the frozen food section. But to have you as a resource being like, that's fine. Like there are other options for you. There are other ways around it to make sure that you're getting what you need. That's big for people because I think a lot of people just get into this mindset of like, I just need to go in and get what I can afford, and that's what we're going to eat. We're going to have hamburger helper all week long or whatever, and that's going to be it. And to have you be like, no, you can do this, or like, how about this instead, or like try this as a replacement. That's a huge value.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I get it. I've got two small kids, you know, a lot of the time is an issue too. So,
Mhm.
you know, I'm a big advocate of doing, you know, kind of crock pot meals, especially in the winter time. You'll see that on my Instagram. Like I'm always thinking like soups and stuff like that,
Mhm.
just because for me and for like my kids and stuff, it's easy for me to kind of set it and forget it. And then I come home, dinner's already ready. Also can meal planning, and I'm not always the best about this, but meal planning is super easy to do. And it keeps you on budget, and it also keeps you from, you know, buying things that you don't need to be, and also keeps you on your diet as well.
Mhm.
So it's, and I don't even really like to call it a diet, honestly, because it's not a diet. This isn't a diet. It's a lifestyle.
Right.
This is an ongoing thing. It's a whole, it's not a diet, that it's not something that ever ends. You are consistently trying to keep yourself as healthy as possible. And it's a journey
Mhm.
in my mind.
Soup is my favorite, man. I love like on Sundays I'll make like crock pot soup, and that will be my lunches and stuff for the entire week. And that is my favorite, especially in the wintertime. I love like lunch soup. That is my favorite meal, hands down.
It's good stuff for sure.
Mhm.
You know, chicken noodle soup, beef stew,
Mhm.
split pea soup. Those are, yes. Yep. Especially when it's cold out, you're like, oh yeah, I'm
Yes.
gonna get me some
So
warm
good.
soup.
I love it. I
And
had
they're
chicken
really
noodles.
filling too. People
Yeah.
think, oh,
Right.
it's just soup, and they're like, well, I actually
Yes.
like, I don't know about you, but I have like a bowl of split pea soup, and with the peas, it's so much protein. I'm like, I can only eat one bowl.
Right.
I'm the same. I got home from my long run today, and I was like, I have chicken noodle soup in the fridge, and that is what I am having. And it was the best. It was so good. Oh my God. It was like it hit the spot between like like that salt content and just the chicken and the vegetables in it. I was just like, this is it. This is what dreams are made of right here.
Yeah, it will even doing the meal planning that actually will like save you money too. Like you said,
Hmm.
so you don't go buying shit during the week and
Mhm.
stuff after work, and then that's extra that you're spending. So
Yeah.
yep. So if you
And
buy
then
it,
you don't
plus,
have to race around being like, what am I going to make? And then you end
right,
up making something quick that's like not necessarily as good for you, shall we say? And
Mhm.
or you're running to the grocery store and you're picking up a rotisserie. And don't get me wrong, I've done that before. But you know, to do it on the regular, you kind of want to have something more than that. Not that the rotisserie chickens are bad per se, but you know, I like having stuff that's homemade, because then for me, because I have so many food sensitivities and my kids
mhm,
do too, I need to be able to control the ingredients,
Yeah.
and like some of the spices have like hidden gluten in them and stuff. So you just,
right,
yeah.
yep, yep. So yeah, I guess we can start to wind this down. We can get to our, I don't know, speed round questions, I guess.
The lightning round.
Later around, yeah. All right. Well, okay. What's the most unexpected thing that's happened on your journey?
Oh, let's see. I think just realizing how many people are kind of like a mirror of me almost. Even somebody that you think that you have nothing in common with, you'll start talking with them and you'll be like, oh yeah, I have that going on too. Oh, you had that? Yeah, I've had that too. And it's just, it's really cool the connections that you make with people, and it can be the most unsuspecting person. It's just, it's really nice to have that kind of connection with people that I think, especially during COVID when everybody was kind of huddled away in their houses, that I really missed.
Mhm. Yeah. Let's see. All right. And then what's your favorite quote or mantra that keeps you going?
Well, one that I actually especially like, and you'll appreciate this, is Craig Siegel's "Why Not You?" Because that, you know, a lot of the time I'm like, oh, it's not, and it's like, why not me? Actually, you know, I've always said the answer is always no unless you ask, but the "Why not you?" It just kind of, it's like, why not you? Like it can be you. You can't, because it encompasses a little bit more, I think, than the answer is always no unless you ask. But like, why not you could be like, well, why not me? I could look like that, or I could, have that life or whatever. So it encompasses a little bit more than the answer is always no unless you ask. So that's the one that I kind of keep to the forefront when I'm thinking of things and just kind of sneak it in there when I'm starting to feel like not as confident or not as motivated or not feeling quite up to par.
That's a good one. I
Yeah.
like that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Yeah. And plus you've been like doing this for a while too, studying and all this and everything. So yeah, I mean you've already taught me some stuff just like in this past hour. So yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. See, if you can sum up with one sentence what you think you got. Yeah, yeah, I can read. If you can sum up in one sentence what you think got you where you are to this point, what would you say?
I have a lot of tenacity. I'm tenacious. Some people might say that some people actually have said that I'm spoiled, and it's like, not really, actually, but I do, when I want something, I don't stop until I get it. And if I don't get it, then I'm like, okay, why didn't I get it? And I think of like either another way to possibly get it, or I'm like, okay, well, I'm not meant to get it, and something else is better is on the way.
Mhm.
So it's not, I just, I'm like Dory, you know, from Finding Nemo. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
keep swimming. It's like, okay,
Yep.
well, I'm just gonna keep going because I got nothing else to do.
Right.
Like,
Just keep swimming. Just keep
yeah,
swimming. Yeah.
yeah.
No,
I
I
mean,
love
if
that.
things are really like kind of like things aren't working out and it's snowballing and snowballing and snowballing and or I'm getting roadblocks, I kind of take a step back and I'm like, okay, think about where my mentality is. Am I thinking the right way? Am I going about this a different way? Should I be trying this way? Maybe I had it backwards and maybe I needed to do this instead of this, and then this would happen. And just kind of reevaluating the scenario and then keep going at it. You
Hmm.
know, I just always regroup and then go back
Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
That's how I function very similar to you. And it's just like, okay, this isn't working. So what is it that's not working and how can I reframe what it is that I'm approaching, what I'm trying to do and attack it that way and see if that works. But I'm very much the same. Like just keep on going. Like we're gonna get there. It might take a couple of turns. We might roadblock. We might have to switch directions, but eventually we're gonna get to where we need to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been working with a business coach, a somatic business coach, for since November, and he's been great. And the lessons that I've been doing with him have really opened up. And there was one part where he was like you were supposed to go over things about fear and like what when fear has when you've let fear hold you back from something. And I was like, I couldn't for the life of me. And I was like, why am I not able to do this? And I talked to my partner about it. I'm like, I can't figure this out for the life of me. Why can't I, and he's like, well, you don't really do that. You just kind of go for things.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you think like maybe, something will stump you for a little bit, but then you still go for it.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. And he was like, so I explained that to my business coach and he was like, actually, you know what? You do that. I was
Mhm.
like, all right. He was like, so you don't really let fear hold you back. I mean, maybe for like a hot second, but then you just
Yeah.
go for it. I'm like, yeah.
Yep. Yep. I tell all my students up at school, we're doing this thing right now, called Shoot Your Shot for my interpersonal communications class. And the whole like groundwork for it is for them to learn how to network and communicate with people that are outside of their reach that they normally wouldn't be able to contact. So like, maybe it's somebody that they admire or it's an internship that they really want, or just somebody that they've always wanted to reach out to. And I always tell them, I was like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, if you ask, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to tell you no, right? And then you just back up and you're just like, all right, this person told me that we can't do it. So what other avenues can I do to get me to where I want to go? And I was like, the only thing that's holding you back is this irrational fear in your brain that you can't do something. And why can't you do it? Like, why can't you take that step to do it? And been such a value in the past classes that we've done it, and in even now seeing the growth with the students as they've, you know, been going through the process of networking, connecting with other people, and just how much more open and like daring that they are to just, you know, take a chance to see if they can make it happen.
I love that,
Yeah.
Kerri. That's great. That's great that you're doing that with them, because I wish I had a teacher in high school or college, or that had that foresight to be like, hey, these are life skills that are
Yeah.
needed to, help you thrive and stuff. So kudos to you for implementing that.
It's so cool to watch them, and they're always like, well, what if we don't get in touch with the person that we want? It was like, you're still learning how to communicate with other people and network and take chances, and that alone is a value that you're going to want to carry with you further in life. So it's cool.
That's awesome.
All right.
Oh, I better be hearing that you're going to be starting a food diary.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. So
Exactly. Yes, yes, yes. Doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to live life like that. There's hope, I promise.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the elimination diet, even though it sounds really challenging, that might be something to consider. So yeah.
It is, but it's temporary. You just do it
Mhm.
for a little while until you figure out what's going on, and then at least you have answers and you go from there.
Yep, yep. Yep, it's got a lot going on now, so yeah.
I get it.
So, and I mean, I mean, I get a lot of good going on for me. So, yeah, fixing my health, that's like that'll be awesome. So, yeah, another step.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and as Craig says, playing small is over.
Canceled.
All right, Kate, want to tell people how they can reach you?
You can find me on my Instagram at integrate period with period Kate, or on LinkedIn. I am under Kate DeCosta. And of course, you can find me on my website as well, which is integratewithkate.net.
Yep,
I would have
and
had .com, but apparently, and GoDaddy actually confirmed this, or one of their workers did, that when you look for a name, it can flag. And so people have like they'll buy it and hold it for like ransom. I know.
that
So I looked for it to make sure, and then my brother did, and then I don't know. So yeah. So and I offered $500 and that wasn't enough. So I was like, whatever, then I'll be .net.
eat it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just word to the wise. If you want, if you want a specific website, only look it up once.
Exactly. And are also like taking on clients.
Yeah, I'm taking on clients. I do currently I do one-on-one, and one-on-one, it's a 6 months program that I do with people. And then I also have just kind of like an a la carte call that you can do with me if you just need help here and there, and not a whole actual 6 month program. But most people choose to do the 6 month program just because it's fiscally more responsible, I guess you could say. It makes more sense to do it that way than the other way. But yeah,
Mhm.
I'm going to be writing an
Right.
ebook soon too.
And
So
Kerri.
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
I
yeah, about gut
love
health. So
That's
that.
awesome.
it's
Can
my
you say
first
what
one,
it'll
so
be?
it's gonna be pretty
Uh-huh.
small, but I've got that coming out soon. Well, I've got to write it first, but it's not, I have so much in my brain that I'm like, I can't wait to like just kind of like have diarrhea on the paper.
Right?
Oh, all the stuff that's in my brain, try to like put it in there and make sense of it. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Oh,
in the
that's
work.
perfect. That'd be so
Yeah.
helpful, right?
Hmm.
Oh, I love that. Oh, awesome. Yeah, so keep an eye on for that.
Yeah.
All right. Kerri, you wanna
Yeah,
do-
you can find me on Instagram at running_with_the_rockstar, or on Facebook, every run has a story. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. All right, and then you can find me at the Rhode Runner. It's RHODE on Instagram and Facebook, and we're also at Inspiring Journeys Pod on Instagram, and yeah, we have a Facebook page too. And it's Inspiring Journeys Pod at gmail.com if you'd like to tell us. If you have any questions, want to chat, whatever. So, and I want to thank everybody so much for listening. It seems like we're building momentum with the getting a little following here. So I'm loving this. Very
Yeah, it's been
early
awesome.
stages here. I love it.
Yeah, so fun.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Kate. Thank you so much, Kate, for coming on.
Yeah, this has
Thanks
been
for
Blast so
having me. This is
educational.
great. Yeah, this was so much fun. Like I said, I love geeking out on this stuff. So this was a lot of fun for me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, everybody. Until next time, we'll see you later. And remember,
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!
sit, Lizzie, sit. Good dog.